Tommen Baratheon, the boy king, or is it the kind king? How about the easily manipulated king? Yes, there are many ways to describe young Tommen's short yet memorable reign, but what is a certainty is the fact that he was not ready nor truly prepared to rule the Seven Kingdoms. Most importantly, he never truly wanted to be a ruler. However, he was kind and good-hearted, and his story is definitely worth being told. In today's video, I'm going to take you through the entire life of Tommen, from his early days as a carefree child to becoming the boy king of Westeros. Welcome to Game of Thronelore. This is the life of King Tommen Baratheon. Tommen was born the youngest of three siblings in the year 291 AC to Cersei Lannister and Robert Baratheon, although his true biological father was Cersei's twin brother Jaime. Despite being best recognised in the TV show from the portrayal of the handsome Dean Charles Chapman, Tommen's appearance differs quite greatly in the books. He's actually quite plump, with long white blonde curly hair, and he has emerald green eyes also. He is nothing like his older brother Joffrey, being quite loving, understanding and soft-hearted. Many have said that Tommen would have made a better king while his brother reigned. He also has quite a close relationship with his mother. His first appearance comes in the first novel, A Game of Thrones, where he arrives at Winterfell as part of his father King Robert Baratheon's entourage following the death of Lord Jon Arryn. He spars with Bran Stark for some time as the pair use wooden swords. Upon Ned Stark's acceptance as Hand of the King, he then returns to King's Landing with the royal family and the Starks. He also finds Arya Stark's wild behaviour very unusual, and at one point didn't recognise her in King's Landing because she appeared so filthy. When Ned Stark discovers that Tommen is in fact not Robert's biological son, along with his brother Joffrey and sister Myrcella, he informs Renly Baratheon of the situation, and it is suggested by Renly that he sees both Myrcella and Tommen, and even arrange for a marriage between Arya and Tommen. Joffrey, however, becomes king and has Ned executed. In a clash of kings, we next see Tommen deeply upset at the sight of his sister departing for Dorne, struggling to understand why she has to leave. With rioting and the War of the Five Kings making King's Landing increasingly unsafe, Queen Cersei Lannister plots to sneak Tommen out of the city to Rosby under the protection of Lord Giles Rosby himself, disguised as a page. However, Tommen's uncle, Tyrion, the acting Hand of the King, learns of the plot and sends Sir Jacelyn Bywater to intercept the party on the Rosby Road and take Tommen to Rosby himself, thereby under Tyrion's control and not Cersei's. Tommen adopts a fawn at Rosby, and Jacelyn tasks his men with evacuating the boy to an unknown location if King's Landing falls during the war. Tyrion then threatens Cersei that any harm inflicted on Alayaya, a prostitute believed to be Tyrion's lover and arrested under the Queen's orders, will be visited upon Tommen as well, although it is very unlikely that Tyrion would allow any harm to come to his nephew. The Kingsguard Knight who allowed Jacelyn to take Tommen, Sir Boros Blunt, is stripped of his white cloak by Cersei. By the time of a storm of swords, Jacelyn Bywater is killed in the Battle of the Blackwater, and Cersei has Tommen brought back to King's Landing by the Kettle Black brothers. Acting of his own accord while the Hand of Stannis, Lord Alistair Florent attempts to settle a peace agreement with Lord Tywin Lannister, Tommen's grandfather, that involves a promise of marriage between Tommen and Stannis' daughter Princess Shireen, but his plans do not come to pass. During the wedding feast of Tyrion and Sansa Stark, Tommen, who is now taller than his uncle, dances with Meghan Tyrell and Sansa. Tommen participates in the wedding of Joffrey to Margaery Tyrell, handing the bride's cloak to his brother. The boy also scatters rose petals before the king and queen after the ceremony. Tommen screams and cries as he watches his brother Joffrey choking to death at his wedding feast. He is crowned king in the aftermath of Joffrey's death, and plans are made for him to wed Margaery Tyrell in Joffrey's stead, although he does express his guilt over taking his brother's place. Not wanting Cersei to raise Tommen, Tywin wants Jaime to abdicate as Lord Commander of the Kingsguard and educate the boy as his ward and squire at Castle Rock. However, Jaime refuses. Boris Blunt, the shamed former member of the Kingsguard, is now redeployed as Tommen's food taster after Joffrey's poisoning. After Tywin Lannister's death, Cersei becomes Queen Regent, and Tommen acts as king. However, his primary and favourite activity is being able to place the royal stamp on any document put in front of him, a clear display of the fact he's just a boy. Cersei frowns upon his meek and tractable nature, frequently comparing him with disfavour to his willful and headstrong brother Joffrey. Tommen frightens quite easily also, and while being treated in the Red Keep, the dying Sir Gregor Clegane screams terrify the boy king, and he also flees in disgust from Tywin's corpse. Tommen's uncle, Kevin Lannister, refuses to serve as his hand and leaves for Castle Rock since his niece Cersei will not yield her son's regency. Lord Mace Tyrell insists that Tommen wed his daughter Margaery before agreeing to march on Storm's End. However, Cersei does not trust House Tyrell. When they wed, Tommen covers Margaery with the black Baratheon cloak which King Robert Baratheon, his father, had used when he married Cersei. Tommen is fascinated yet frightened when Cersei burns the Tower of the Hand with wildfire after the wedding, an early understanding of what his mother is capable of doing. In Dorne, Princess Arianne Martell plots to crown Tommen's sister, Myrcella Baratheon, in opposition to the boy king, but the plan is foiled by her father, Prince Doran Martell. However, wanting Tommen to have younger advisors, Cersei appoints Aran Waters as Master of Ships on the Small Council. When the Small Council receives Lord Commander Jon Snow's request for aid for the Night's Watch, Cersei agrees to send reinforcements in Tommen's name, but some are to be tasked with assassinating Jon. Margaery begins to influence Tommen to resist his mother's commands, which begins to increasingly frustrate Cersei. Tommen also takes an interest in knighthood and jousting, and reacts with anger when Cersei refuses to honour his command that Sir Loras Tyrell, now of the Kingsguard, be named as the Red Keep's Master at Arms. Cersei assigns Sir Osney Kettleblack as Tommen's sworn shield, but the Queen Regent also tasks him with seducing Margaery. In return for Cersei allowing the Faith militants to reform, the new High Septon, the High Sparrow, forgives the crown's debts to the Faith of the Seven and blesses King Tommen. The king gives Loras a jewelled sword when the night departs for the siege of Dragonstone. When Tommen stands up to his mother and shows assertiveness when Cersei threatens Margaery, Cersei's response is to have Boros force Tommen to beat his whipping boy, Pate, until he bleeds. Cersei engineers Margaery's arrest by the Faith for allegedly sleeping with a number of men, and following Cersei's own arrest for treason and adultery, Tommen continues to do the bidding of the Small Council, now controlled by Sir Harys Swift and Grand Maester Pycelle. A lonely Tommen asks for his wife and his mother, and he signs any decree placed before him. Tommen is kept hidden away in the Red Keep when his mother completes her Walk of Atonement, as his great uncle Kevin Lannister, now Lord Regent and Protector of the Realm, feels no son should see his mother like that. A Dance with Dragons is Tommen's last appearance to date, but he does go on to appear further as the TV show continues. And as I've paid respect to the fact that the books are considered canon, I will now refer to the show in order to finish out Tommen's story. Now, after his mother completes her atonement, Cersei must still stand trial along with Sir Loras and Margaery. However, unbeknownst to many, she is plotting to assassinate the entire Faith militant along with Margaery and all those who attend the trial. Tommen is growing increasingly frustrated with himself as he continues to show a lack of strength and boldness. He wants to show leadership and eventually does show glimpses of it. He even begins to question the High Sparrow more frequently and starts to believe that the leader of the Faith militant does not have the purity of the realm solely at heart. As the Faith's grip on King's Landing strengthens, Queen Margaery's Walk of Atonement approaches. However, on the day of her supposed walk, the Tyrell army approaches the Sept of Baelor, with Jaime Lannister threatening to slaughter every last member of the Fate Militant should Margaery even step foot into the city for such a walk. The High Sparrow, correctly guessing that such a threat would occur prior, acts as if the unity between the Faith and the Crown was all that he ever sought, making it appear as if Margaery was never in any real danger of making such a walk of atonement in the first place. King Tommen half-heartedly commits to such a union, but acts the role required to convince the High Sparrow that they share the same goal. Quite an incredible scene and a fantastic display of double acting on both men's accounts. However, what appears as Tommen doing exactly what's necessary to save his wife actually turns into him becoming corrupted by the High Sparrow, as his weak character and lack of guile has him as nothing but a mere puppet. It becomes clear that the High Sparrow aims for Cersei Lannister's death as to completely rid the king of her influence. Tommen, under the Fate's recommendation, bans trial by combat, to his mother's shock and dismay. In his final scenes, he even appears ready to accept that his mother will more than likely be found guilty and sentenced to death. He is seen almost readying himself to attend the trial. He is stopped by the Mountain Sir Gregor Clegane while trying to leave the Red Keep before witnessing a massive explosion of wildfire that consumes the entire sept of Baelor, destroying the building completely and killing everyone inside, including his wife Margaery. In shock and feeling as if he has nothing left to live for after witnessing such an atrocity, Tommen removes his crown, steps onto the window ledge and free falls to the ground, dying instantly upon impact. Tommen Baratheon, despite a relatively short reign, showed none of the qualities it took to be a king, lacking in leadership, guile and boldness. While he did show a kindness, he was easily manipulated and is a clear example of what can happen when a king is not properly prepared nor has the right counsel to guide him. He is still for me an interesting character, and I really enjoyed researching and telling you all his story. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your support. Everyone, notifications of uploads are more important than ever, so please, if you haven't already, turn those notifications on to make sure you're notified the moment my video goes live. Making videos is what I love to do, it's my dream and my passion. However, it does cost time and money to produce this content, so if you have $1 to spare to support me on Patreon in exchange for some exclusive unseen content, then you can click the Patreon link below or at the end of this video. Please only support me if you can afford it. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at InstaDeanJ and on Twitter at PotterFolklore. Check out my other videos appearing on screen, and please make sure, most importantly, to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again everyone, and please have a great day.